Hi, my name is Annie Carson, and my story begins the day my grandmother met my father. Hey, Dad. In 1965, my grandmother was a healthy woman with a normal pregnancy, but as was standard medical procedure at the time, when she went into labor, she was put under nitrous oxide, and the doctor extracted my father from her womb. This happened 3 years later when my aunt was born, and both times my grandmother woke up to healthy, beautiful children, but she had been unconscious for the entire process. Now, the way that my grandmother delivered shows a radical shift in the way our country perceives birth, something that's been around since the dawn of civilization. Now, pregnancy and birth have inherent pain and inherent risk, but in order to mitigate our fear, we not only medicalized but industrialized the process. We began to see pregnant women on the verge of catastrophe, requiring the rescue of obstetricians, while women lay flat on their backs, feet in the stirrups, sometimes unconscious for the entire process. Now, my grandmother's story might be different than how most people deliver today, but the ways that we respond to fear and the ways we see women's agency in this process has sometimes remained the same. Now, if we look at maternal health on a global level, we have a lot of progress to make. In 1990, the United Nations set a Millennium Development Goal to reduce maternal mortality 75% by 2015. As of yet, it's been reduced 45%, and maternal mortality has actually doubled in the United States. The World Health Organization recommends that skilled, trained midwives can provide the majority of care to women, which led me to ask, what exactly is a midwife? Our culture has some interesting ideas about what a midwife is, what a midwife does. We might picture a woman scampering across the prairie in the middle of the night to deliver a baby by candlelight, or someone who assists those hippies down the street who want to pop it out in the tub. And these are all valid birth experiences, but they don't fully capture the role of what a midwife is. If we look at the Greek root, midwife means to be with woman. And often midwives are medically trained professionals, but it's their posture of being with and alongside women that makes the impact. I was interested to learn some more, so I got a grant this summer to travel to 6 different countries, talk to about 80 different midwives about their roles and about how they best serve women. And so today I'd like to share about 4 of those different countries with you. So for the past 200 years, Swedish midwives have been licensed, trained, and regulated to provide the majority of care to low-risk birth in hospitals. A woman in Sweden only sees an obstetrician if complications require her to transfer care. And Rwanda has made the most incredible progress in maternal health out of African countries since the advent of midwifery in 2008. Rwandan midwives now provide the majority of care to women in this low-resource setting. Then I went to Bangladesh, where in some areas, the C-section rate is 70%. That is 5 times the recommended rate for normal C-sections. So they're focusing on skilled, trained midwives, giving community-appropriate care to really reduce these unnecessary and dangerous interventions. And last, I went to Australia, where women are leading research in midwifery, showing through comprehensive studies that midwifery care can reduce preterm birth by 25% and provides economic and accessible health care to women all over. So I came back from this trip with lots of precious stories, but also a new perspective on how we can structure maternal care. What if we focused on scope of practice, where midwives care for low-risk, normal pregnancy and birth, and obstetricians are the expert in high-risk, complicated care, and they work together to provide the best care to individual women. Instead of our current hierarchical system, which puts obstetricians at the top and midwives and other birth care workers at the bottom. But more than the medical perspective, it's the heart of midwifery which makes such an impact. Around the world, midwives characterize their role as being support, compassion, empathy, to be with women and help women be with their own experience. I saw this really powerfully when I shadowed at a prenatal clinic in Rwanda. It was a slum area, and the midwives would kneel on the mat in front of the women, look them in the eyes, listen to their story, and ask, "How can I help you?" So I want this to be the beginning of a conversation, not only how we reimagine maternal health care, but how we view women's agency in the process to motherhood. Furthermore, how can we incorporate elements of midwifery into our own lives, that of patience, presence, and listening? Now, perhaps the next time you see a pregnant woman, instead of asking, "When is her due date?" Look her in the eyes, listen to her story, and ask, what can I do for you? Thank you.